how did you end up here in Greece?
Many things happened. First of all, I was an electrician, marine electrician. I worked in the shipyard in Belfast when I was young, 16. And then I went to sea on a ship when I was 21 for 6 months. It was enough. Didn't like it at all. But then the shipyard in Belfast closed because of the government problems. There no more money from the government, so we all started to take different jobs. So I got a job as a bus driver, city bus driver. Got the license, drove 6 years. But then the trouble was in Northern Ireland we had terrorism, we had the IRA and the Protestant, Catholic and Protestant. My brother was a carpenter, but then become a policeman. He ended up a detective, forensic detective. So he asked me, join the police with us and fight this evil that we've got in our country. Protestant and Catholic, both sides were just as evil. The IRA, I think, were more evil, but my own people were living around me, so I saw they were evil. So I decided to go one day and join the army, British Army. But they didn't want me to. They wanted me to just join as a regular soldier. I said no, I want to be an engineer. I'm an engineer by trade. I have a right. You have a right, if qualified as an engineer, to join them as an engineer. Oh no, you have to do 3 years as a soldier. I said, forget it. Said, I want straight in as an engineer, have the qualifications and the education. Oh, you can't do that. I said, okay. So I didn't sign the papers. But then they came back, saw my father. Say I was 26 or 27, and I was old for being in the British Army, but they were getting desperate for people. So the recruiting officer came and talked to my father. And my father said, Tom says he's not going there unless he's an engineer. I'm an engineer, the father said, so he's not joining as a soldier. He said, well, maybe we can get him in as an engineer if he has the qualifications. So I joined. But I was a soldier.
How many years did you?
9 years. 9 years. But it was 3 years as a soldier, 3 years in Northern Ireland. I trained people as a soldier, walking on the foot patrols, looking at the windows, making sure no bombs. You're walking in their doorway, wasn't a booby trap bomb. That was 6 years, the first 6 years. But then in Northern Ireland, we had a real great problem of Protestant and Catholics executing people, killing people, and the court, the English government, did not put them in jail. Yeah, I had some money put by in my work, and I was a mental patient. I was cuckoo. We call it in Ireland cuckoo, just crazy. So I walked. Where could I go? I had no family, nothing, all dead. My brother was alive, but that was the only one. So I went round, got the boat to Southern Ireland, from Southern Ireland to France, Le Havre and Cherbourg. Walked around France, walked around the coast of France, Spain, Portugal. Then when it got down to Portugal, into Spain again. But I was working, I was an engineer, so I had some jobs. Some people in boatyards and marinas gave me work, because I was marine electrician, and building work. I didn't have any problem money-wise. I always had enough to keep me going from one. I worked in one place and moved to the next. I didn't want to go everywhere in one time.
How many years?
10 years. 10 years on my own.
And afterwards, how did you end up here in Greece?
Well, I was in other couple of countries. I came in 98. I was thinking, it's time to go home. Let's go home to Northern Ireland, see what's happening, but I never got there. I came to Athens, Piraeus, and as most tourists do, they come to see Plaka-Monastηρακι and all. So I'm living here, up the street from me is a church, Metamorphosis in Plaka. 2001 I came to there and I fell asleep on the bench. And there was a new priest that just came 2 weeks before me from Corfu to take over after an old priest died. And he talked English and he said, where are you from? I said, Elandir. Oh, from Ireland. Oh, I said, my God, you speak English? He said, yeah, of course, I'm from Corfu. Because everybody speaks English, the English, same as Rhodes. So what are you doing lying here? It's cold. You need somewhere to sleep. So for 6 months, there was a little hut at the back of the church, and I built a wooden house, a little wooden house, but it rained a lot. So I had to put plastic over it. Good after Calioric. So I put plastic over it. It was only a little hut that size, but it was enough for me to sleep. I'd sleep in worse places. I'd sleep in the open for so many years, so I was able to cope with it.
This year in Greece, what is the things that you like and the things that you hate in Greece?
Personally, I don't hate nothing in Greece. The politics is wrong. It's not that I don't like the politicians, but all your politicians for me are corrupt. And even the good ones that say they're good, you can't trust them now. You can't trust any of your politicians now, because the corruption didn't start with the politicians. It started with Europe giving the politicians so much money and not having it accountable, not being accountable for that money. It's same in Ireland. It happened that way. The Irish people, farmers and terrorists, were taking money from the European Commission and bringing sheep and petrol over the border and bringing it back again over the border and bringing it back. And there was no control on the tax, on the refund, tax money refunded. And we're making millions through the war. That's what happened in not just Greece, but all of Europe has been corrupted by by the European government. I strongly believe there should not have been a European government. I strongly believe Germany has actually defeated Europe financially. They couldn't defeat us for 2 wars. We defeated them. But Merkel's policy, behind her is something, because she has destroyed Europe. She has. But she is now destroying herself, because her country is having problems now. They paid so much. Where did all the money go to from the Second World War that the Germans stole in Greece, the gold from the main bank? I know that history. They took all the gold from your Greek bank, and Germany has never paid it back. That was clear Greece's debt and put them well in front, but Germany refuses to pay that back.
So what's research here in Athens? Do you consider yourself to be a philosopher or an artist?
Neither. Just Tom. Just Tom. I don't like titles. People say, oh, I've been an artist. I done 3 or 4 years in university and art school, and now I'm an artist. Oh, I was in the Acropolis for 6 years, or university study science, study philosophy. Now I'm a philosopher. Good afternoon. Or I've got a PhD and all this, and now I'm an educated person. My education I had from my travel, from my experience in life when I was 16.
Every time that you take part in a demonstration, the next day the Greek media always have something to say about your way of criticizing the
I don't know. I don't understand Greek, but I've been on TV quite a lot, I've been I've been some stupid things I've done. You know, have a look in there.
Well, many people say that you are expressing the deeper feelings of Greeks.
Yeah, but the Greeks don't express it like I do. They just hold the banners up and walk. Well, that's not getting anywhere. For me, you have to do something physically. People in Europe to see this. A banner. People in Europe all doing that, and it's nothing. But if you walk about with a toilet bowl, or with ears sticking out your head, or an arrow stuck in the back, or coming out of your head, or other things, a supermarket trolley with nothing in it, only one little piece of bread. Yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to express yourself visibly to get people to think. You're not all that crazy. You might look crazy, but it takes an intelligent man to act crazy, to act a fool, to behave like a fool. A crazy guy, you know he's crazy by his eyes, the flaming and like that.
You're saying that you are just dumb, but all your actions making Greeks think that you are nowadays Diogenes philosopher.
Many people say that, but I don't really want to be like. I don't want to be like somebody because I don't know who he is. I never knew who he was. I don't care what he was. He was a very, as far as I hear, very, very intelligent man. I'm not intelligent. I've no education, only as an engineer. And life, I travel through life. That was my education. I walked through problems in my life and I got through them. I see a lot of depressed people here and homeless people in Greece. Drug addicts, I see. I haven't taken I haven't taken medicine for 30 years since I left Northern Ireland, more. I don't believe in medicine. First of all, can't afford it. Secondly, I don't know what's in it, what's in medicine. I broke my leg about 7 years ago. I fell off a ladder here in Plaka. 2 weeks in the hospital. I had to take antibiotics and injections, but the hotel fixed all that up for me. The hotel got 5 litres of blood for me the second day I was in hospital. So now I'm more Greek than I am Irish. But when the doctor was giving me the blood, I said, "Doctor, great, you're giving me 5 litres of blood. When I wake up tomorrow morning from the operation, will I be able to speak Greek?" Said, "Are you crazy, man?" I said, "No, I'm Tom." I said, "I'm going to have more Greek blood, so I must be able to speak Greek." I've been trying to learn Greek a long time, but I never got it. You know.
So how do you imagine your future here in Plaka?
I don't have a future. I have one day. I don't look at I never looked at my future. I look at one day of my life. I have one day. I waking up every morning and I just say to myself, thank God I'm alive today, because I could have been dead 30 years ago. So lucky to be alive. And I've had 30 years of more life